Welcome to Tragedies, Africa Year in Review. In this series, we'll look at all of the notable happenings that took place in Africa this year.
The French military in Africa is here to stay. France is to deploy an additional 220 troops to the Sahel to its additional 4,500 strong force already in the continent. The leaders of the G5 Sahel countries at the summit in Pau said they welcome the support to move despite the growing anti-French sentiments in their respective countries.
The heads of state of the G5 Sahel have expressed their wish to pursue their engagements with France and its allies in the coalition.
The 6 member countries of the West African Monetary Zone, comprising of Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, have rejected the adoption of the ECO as the name of the proposed single currency for the West African countries. This move comes after France had been widely accused of hijacking the new West African currency, the ECO currency, after it backed the formal adaptation of the ECO from the CFA with mostly the same agreements, attachment, and sneaky loopholes with the West African countries. Another Berlin conference on Africa just happened to discuss the Libyan conflict. Listen to what these world leaders had to say.
To try and bring about peace for Libya and for the Libyan people, fill them with hope. And I believe that this Berlin conference on Libya has given very good support to hopefully has given a very good support to the UN peace process.
A rescue campaign has gone viral after a number of shocking photos of severely malnourished lions in Al-Keshi Park in Khartoum, Sudan were shared on social media. Tunacheki got exclusive footage from the park showing the severely malnourished and underweight lions sitting in their cages with their bones and vertebrates exposed. The photos were posted under the hashtag Sudan Animal Rescue by Mohamed Saleh, who saw the lions while walking in the park with his son and was ignored after offering to help. I came here on Saturday to Al-Keshi Park with my little child. We just came to have a walk and we didn't even expect to see animals in the park. After buying a ticket, we entered and saw a lot of animals. Among them were these 3 lions, but they looked like skeletons. They were lying down and looked very tired, which made us extremely upset. African climate activists calls foul at racist photocrop by various Western media news agencies. A Ugandan climate activist, Vanessa Nakate, has accused various Western media news agencies of racism after she was cropped out of a photo taken with her white peers in Davos, Switzerland, during the World Economic Forum. The various Western news media outlets, including the USA's AP, aka Associated Press News Agency, cropped out the only African in the image to portray their standards of white supremacy that they spread to the world. Here is a video statement that Ms. Nakate said after the incident.
I land on this article and I see the photos and I clearly see how I was scrapped out of the photos and
A biblical locust outbreak threatens the whole of Eastern Africa. East Africa is facing its worst locust infestation in decades, and the climate crisis is to blame. Scientists claim that the unusual cyclones over the past 2 years caused by the climate change has created today's Africa locust plague. Somalia declared emergency over the locust swarm just yesterday, as the swarms of desert locusts are rampaging through several countries including Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, and even as far as Uganda. The locusts are devastating pastures and croplands, threatening the livelihood of millions of people. The fake news story that we are looking at today comes from True News. It's a Christian, racist, conspiracy theory TV network that is based in Dallas. The owner, an American pastor called Rick Wiles, claimed that Africa, in particularly Kenya and Nigeria, are the most corrupt countries in the world, and that God has sent locusts. There's a current locust epidemic in Kenya especially, that God has sent those locusts to rid us of the corruption.
Indeed, I've noticed in the conversations in Western countries and their counterparts in Asia and the Middle East, a return to competition over Africa. In some cases, weaponizing divisions, pursuing proxy actions, and behaving like Africa is for the taking. Well, I want to tell you it is not. If you understand the opportunity, I believe you will seek to grow strong partnerships driven by collaborative and generous principles.
In 2020, Shell may be facing unprecedented legal scrutiny over allegations that included its complicity in unlawful execution and causing systematic pollution and environmental damage in the Niger Delta. Chinese man arrested for whipping a Kenyan restaurant employee. The police arrested 4 Chinese nationals after a video surfaced of a Chinese man beating a Kenyan restaurant staff in Kileleswa surfaced online. Detectives raided the restaurant on Sunday, February 9, and arrested 4 Chinese nationals. They were found not in possession of valid work documents and are set to be arraigned on Monday. Egypt has just confirmed its first case of the coronavirus, but the patient is not African. The patient, who is not from Egypt, did not show any symptoms of being ill. This happened Friday last week, where North African country confirmed its first case of coronavirus, making it the first known infection in Africa. American billionaire Bill Gates warned of 10 million deaths if the virus spreads to Africa. He was quoted saying, quote, "Will this get into Africa or not? If so, will those health systems be overwhelmed? This disease, if it's in Africa, it's more dramatic than if it's in China."
And Nigeria have all reported their first cases. All these cases have links to Italy. 24 cases have been exported from Italy to 14 countries, and 97 cases have been exported from Iran to 11 countries.
This new government has decided to hand former disgraced President al-Bashir to the ICC. Apartheid President F.W. de Klerk shamelessly claimed that apartheid was not a crime against humanity. African Development Bank says that the World Bank criticism on Africa is misleading.
An African woman called Masiko is the last Ebola patient in the Democratic Republic of Congo to leave the Ebola treatment center. The African health heroes in Beni celebrated and were delighted to share this victory with Masiko. In a tweet, the World Health Organization congratulated all partners involved in the Ebola response activities. They tweeted, "We will remain in full response mode for the remainder of the observation period." They continued, "There are currently 0 cases of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo after over a year of fighting this outbreak."
East African countries endorse pioneering free movement deal. Former Egyptian ruler Hosni Mubarak dead at 91. Guinea-Bissau president resigns after 1 day in office. The Democratic Republic of Congo releases its last Ebola patient with no recurrent patient.
Kenya's only female wet giraffe and a calf have been killed. This is a major blow for rare animals found nowhere else in the world, the conservationists said. The bodies of the 2 giraffes were found by locals in a skeletal state after being killed in Garissa in eastern Kenya.
Ethiopian 18th century crown hidden in the Netherlands for 21 years finally returns home. The crown, thought to be the last of only 20, was received by the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who thanked Sirak Asfar, the Ethiopian management consultant who founded in 1998, and the government of the Netherlands for facilitating its safe return. The precious crown was held onto until last year, when Mr. Sirak felt it was safe to hand it to the authorities. Travel ban from US, Asia, and Europe by Africa in light of COVID-19. With about 34 African countries currently with recorded cases, governments continue to roll out increasingly robust measures to halt the spread and contain the pandemic, which has claimed a number of lives. As the pandemic spreads, countries in the region are increasing vigilance at airports and borders, with restrictions on flights out of Europe in particular. Giant of Africa, Nigeria has taken over South Africa as the biggest economy in Africa, as South Africa slid into a second recession in 2 years, Bloomberg report.
French doctors propose on live TV using Africans as guinea pigs for COVID-19 treatment. 2 French doctors have been accused of racism after calling for coronavirus vaccines to be trialed in Africa on a French live TV channel called LCI. Jean-Paul Mira, head of intensive care at Cochit Hospital in Paris, and Camille Lodge, head of research at the INSAM Health Research Group, both said on French TV that there were cases for testing out the vaccines in African countries. The pair faced swift backlash online, with many saying the comments were racist, rude, and disrespectful. Shocking news coming from China as Africans are being forcefully evicted from their homes and hotels for being accused of having the coronavirus. Among them reporting this are Nigerians, Kenyans, and Ghanaians. The West African country of Guinea seems to be the first African country to have taken action against the Chinese racism and violent attacks against Africans, as a video has surfaced allegedly showing arrested and documented Chinese nationals living in the country waiting to be deported. 6 Chinese nationals arrested and being charged in Uganda after escaping quarantine. 6 Chinese nationals who had arrived at Entebbe Airport aboard an Ethiopian Airlines plane after they had flown from Gonzhou in China, the area that have been in the news recently for mistreating Africans, are now facing charges in a Ugandan court. After arriving, the 6 tried to flee to the neighboring DR Congo using a van. Prosecution said that the 6th, on March 19th, left a hotel facility where they were supposed to be undergoing mandatory quarantine against COVID-19. They were subsequently arrested and tested. Nigerian police arrest 2 Chinese nationals in Zamfara state for illegal mining. The police in Zamfara state in Nigeria arrested 2 Chinese nationals for alleged illegal mining in Kwali village, a local government area of the state.
Fuzzling us was the fact that the federal government has banned all mining activities since 2016 in Zamfara. So we are not expecting to see even a Nigeria engaging in gold activities, and not to talk about even a Chinese national. But you are living witness. The Chinese personnel are here and they are engaged very much in that illegal mining activity.
There's a tremendous amount of innovation going on in Africa in general. Maria mentioned South Africa, and again, it is interesting the way in which South Africa is bringing the disease under control, and how African countries are actually, in many ways, in some ways, showing the way. The strategy in South Africa was based on preparation, primary prevention, lockdown, and enhanced surveillance.
Coming in from Michael Omare from Tunacheki. And Michael says, how long do you recommend governments on the continent to keep their lockdown and curfew measures?
So we have... we are actually in the issue of issuing guidance on how to ease up lockdown, and hopefully by next week those guidelines should be out. But once we issue that, I think it's really up to the countries to take those guidelines and then customize it in their context, the local context. It's very important to do this because, I mean, you cannot issue a blanket recommendation to all countries. They should be looking at a stepwise approach in unlocking the system so that people can continue to, of course, ensure that the livelihoods are protected and the lives are protected. So it's always a balance between saving lives and livelihood of the continent.
Africa's most wanted fugitive, Félicien Kabuga, arrested in France, proving Rwanda's genocide claims against France right all along. Félicien Kabuga, one of the world's most wanted fugitives, who is alleged to have been a leading figure in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, has been arrested in France, Paris. They found Kabuga living in France under a false identity. Kabuga was responsible for founding and funding the notorious radio station RTLM, a Rwandan broadcaster that actively encouraged people to search out and kill anyone who was from the Tutsi ethnic group. Rwanda alleged that the French military forces trained their Rwandan counterparts, supplied them with weapons even after an arms embargo, and gave cover under the auspices of the United Nations sanctioned humanitarian mission in the last moments of the genocide campaign. Archival documents show that the French government was a close ally of the Rwandan regime that planned and perpetrated the mass slaughter of an estimated 800,000 people, most of them members of the Tutsi ethnic minority. Rwanda also accused France of giving refuge and asylum to some of the masterminds of the genocide. Today, many Rwandans living in France who are suspected of perpetrating the genocide, including the president's wife, thought to have been one of the masterminds of the massacre, have also largely escaped prosecution. The brutal murder of the African-American citizen George Floyd by the American police has irreparably destroyed the image of America for many Africans, and many on the continent are reacting. Africa has not seen the kind of protests over the Floyd killings that have erupted across the United States. But many Africans on social media have expressed disgust and dismay openly, wondering why the United States of America is so racist towards African Americans. The bust of King Leopold II of Belgium defaced during anti-racist protests in Ghent, Belgium. The bust of King Leopold II of Belgium, who orchestrated the colonial genocide of 10 to 15 million Africans in Congo, has been defaced by protesters in Ghent, Belgium. This also comes as an online petition was launched this week to remove all the statues of the former Belgian king in the city of Brussels. Under his colonial regime, millions of Congolese people died. Lack of reliable sources have made it difficult to form an accurate estimation, but modern estimates range between 10 million to 15 million dead Africans. Why Africa is handling the coronavirus pandemic better than the West? With the current death toll surpassing 8,000 and a total case count of 306,000, one may be worried that Africa is starting to lose the battle against the coronavirus, but this couldn't be further from the truth. In comparison, over 8.4 million people around the world have been confirmed to have the new coronavirus, with almost 500,000 deaths so far, with about 4 million recoveries. The United States of America has the most cases and deaths, with about 2.3 million cases and about 120,000 deaths, making it 15 times more than the African death rate, considering the African continent has 4 times the number of people than the United States. Belgian king sends regrets to Congolese people for genocide, but does not outright apologize. Belgian King Philippe has expressed his regret for acts of violence and suffering of the Congolese people during the colonial period. He made the remarks in a letter to the Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi on the country's 60th anniversary of independence from Belgium. Botswana reports almost 400 mysterious elephant deaths. Officials in the Southern African nation of Botswana have confirmed almost 400 mysterious elephant deaths. This shocking development happened in Botswana's famed Okavango Delta, according to officials who ruled out poaching as the tusks were found intact on the elephants' bodies. The landlocked country has the world's largest elephant population. The Delta alone is home to an estimated 15,000 elephants, making it 10% of the country's population. Nzi Mandela, the daughter of South African liberation hero Nelson Mandela and anti-apartheid activist Winnie Mandela, has passed away at aged 59. Indian company ordered to pay $12 million for poisoning Kenyans. A Kenyan community whose children and residents were sickened by lead from a battery smelting plant has been awarded 12 million, that is 1.3 billion Kenya shillings, following a civil lawsuit. The Kenyan court ordered the government to clean up Owino Uhuru, a village on the outskirts of Mombasa, within 4 months and has given the relevant agencies 90 days to pay out the compensation money. Egypt, South Africa, and Kenya are currently the most powerful countries in Africa, according to a World Report rank. The World Report rank, titled The Most Powerful Countries, listed 73 countries that are consistently dominating the news headlines, preoccupying policymakers, and shaping global economic patterns. The rankings are based on a survey that gathered opinions from more than 20,000 people in 73 countries, conducted in partnership with the research institution and universities.
Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our African videos. It's been me, Zanele Njapa, the Unlearning Lady, and remember, you can also leave your suggestions of topics you'd like us to cover in the comments below.